In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing Hyperice's newest product, Hyperice X. The Hyperice X is a contrast therapy device for your knee, which transitions from cold to hot therapy within 60 seconds without the use of any ice or water. The device uses thermoelectric cooling to provide the ice-like cooling effect. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the Hyperice X. We're going to demonstrate how to use it, and then we're going to go over the pros and cons and talk about who I would recommend this device for. The Hyperice X uses revolutionary technology to provide soothing relief within seconds. This game-changing technology allows you to provide a deep cooling effect to reduce inflammation and swelling. This technology integrates into a knee wrap and then has the ability to switch between cold and heat within 60 seconds. This is all controlled using the Hyperice app. Within the Hyperice app, there's all these different protocols that you can select for to decrease swelling and inflammation, to warm up and loosen up tension and tightness in achy joints, or provide a contrast therapy where it switches from cold to heat or from heat to cold. I think this new technology is going to revolutionize how we treat chronic pain and also how to recover faster. The ability to add in this technology into a knee wrap or another wrap for a different joint is going to allow us to reduce down a lot of the other products that we need, such as like an ice therapy device or a heating pad. This is going to be all integrated into one device, so it's easy to use. This is what the device looks like. It's a premium neoprene wrap for your knee. It has a battery module located up top. This is where the power button, and this is the charging port where you would charge it in. And then below it, you'll see 5 discs. These are the discs that provide the thermal cooling effect for the knee. On the back of the knee wrap, there are 3 straps that hold it in position. This device also comes with extenders and minimizers to either lengthen or shorten the straps in order to fit your knee properly. After charging the device for 3 hours, you get about 1.5 hours of runtime. And I found that very consistent while using it in the office. The device is completely controlled using a Hyperice app. It connects via Bluetooth, and so when you connect the two, then you can select the protocol from the app, and it automatically provides the therapy based on the protocol that you select. Now I'm going to demonstrate how to use the Hyperice X. Okay, so now we're going to demo how to use the Hyperice X. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to get it situated on the knee, and then what we'll do is I'll show you how to use the app to control the different protocols. So when using this device, the battery pack is going to be at the top position above the knee. So what we want to do, you'll see a silver circle, and that's essentially where you want to put the kneecap. So how I've been using it is you want to basically feel where the kneecap is, okay? And then I usually use the top strap first, and we will strap it in. And I like to get it kind of situated. I don't like to strap it down completely, because what we'll want to do is we want to straighten the leg a little bit to do the middle section. And just be careful not to pinch the skin behind the knee. It's a pretty sensitive area. Good. And then the lower strap. Now you do want this fairly tight, but not like too restrictive. Now I'll go back and adjust the upper one. Perfect. Okay, so now we have the kneecap situated right below the silver circle, and we're just going to keep this bent up. Now at home you would keep this straight, just more of a relaxed position, but just to show you how it works. So here are the modules, the fans, okay, so that's going to be used for the cooling portion there. So what we're going to do is we'll turn the cooling portion on. I'll have Renee discuss kind of what it feels like for her. And what we'll also do is we'll use an infrared thermal gun, and we'll see how cold it gets, and then we'll also see how hot it gets. All right, so to use the device, what we're going to do is we're going to hit the power button up here. And then once we have that on, we're going to open up the Hyperice app. So we select the app. And then what we're going to do is it's going to pull up all these different protocols. And it starts with the top rated protocols, and then it goes most used, and then athletes, and then you can program which ones you like to use. But what I typically use is I'll use the inflammation management protocol, or I'll use the cold therapy protocol for just the cold portion. So what we'll do, let's select the cold therapy. And then what it's going to do, it's going to kind of select that routine, and you hit get started. And then what it's going to do Bluetooth wise, it's going to connect to the device, and then it's going to count down and get started. Now most of the protocols are about 15 minutes in length. You can, what's nice about this via the app, you can knock it down 5 minutes or raise it up if you want to increase or decrease the time. And then the other thing you can do is there's a little toggle switch where you can hit if you want to manually control the temperature. So if you don't want it as cold, you can use the slider to decrease the cold temperature, or if you want to increase it, you can do that as well. So what we'll do is we will do the toggle, and I'll show you what that looks like. So if you want to make it really cold, just slide it down like that. And what you can hear, the fans are going, and that's how it's electronically cooling the tissue. Again, remember, this is not using any kind of ice or water therapy throughout the product, which is one of the huge advantages of it. There's no mess, there's no cleanup. It's just the fans which are doing the treatment here. And the company claims that it'll go from heat to cold within 60 seconds. And I definitely agree with that. It will change between the two temperatures pretty quickly. Now, it obviously doesn't go all the way down to the most extreme temperatures, but it will automatically switch between the two. So with the cold therapy, I found that it gets to about 34 degrees. And we'll show that on the infrared thermal gun, but it gets pretty cold. I would say to me, it's a little bit different cold than traditional ice pack, but we'll have Renee comment on that and what she kind of describes it like from that standpoint. All right, so it's starting to show that it's getting colder, and that's what you see, that little arrow there. It's sliding towards the cold side of it. So I'm gonna wait till it gets to that actual cold point, and then we'll have Renee comment on that, and then we'll take the temperature. So again, if you're dealing with any pain or swelling, this is gonna be the protocol that you're gonna wanna do. All right, so Renee, what would you say this feels like for you in terms of the ice therapy?
It definitely feels very cold. I think it's impressive how quickly it's working. I like that it sort of hugs your knee, and so that sort of spreads the coldness around some, as opposed to trying to hold an ice pack or something like that on your knee.
Yeah, and you can, with this on, you can actually walk around, you can do activities. Now, I'd say typically I would have you rest, but it's nice that it's kind of secured to your leg and you can do things if you need to. And again, where these modules are around the knee, that's what's creating that cold portion there. I'll show you on the underside here, the pad underneath that provides that cold. The only downside to this is it doesn't get behind the knee really. It's mainly just where the portion is up on top. So it's at that coldest point there. So what we're gonna do is we're going to take this off with it running, and I'm gonna take a temperature reading to see where we're at. Okay, so what you can see underneath the device is here are where the electric fans are, okay? And you can see it's probably about 2.5, 3 inches wide on each one, and that's where it's gonna get cold around her knee. And you know, just feeling the actual tissue, you can feel it is really pretty cold. Now let's check out the temperature of using the thermal gun. Now I believe it claims that it will get to about 34 degrees, which is really impressive for not actually using any ice or water. Now we're at 34. So again, just electronically cooled, this technology will get it to 34 degrees, which is very impressive. We're actually down to 33 degrees. Okay, so right around that 32, 33 degree mark. That's really impressive to me that, again, you can get down to that cold of a temperature just using this device. We typically have to use a more powerful device in order to get to that temperature. But this is nice because, again, there's no ice, there's no water, there's no mess associated with this. Okay, so what you want to do to stop the protocol is you're going to hit the pause button, and then it's going to say either resume or end session. So we're going to end the session. Okay, and it says this routine is 37 complete. Okay, we'll hit continue. Okay, so now if we wanted to, we could switch to the heat therapy, and that's what we're going to do next. There's also, you can see a contrast therapy. Now the contrast therapy, it's going to circulate between the cold and then the heat. So that's nice in the sense that it's going to help reduce any swelling, but it's also going to warm up the tissue. You can go back and forth, but it's all controlled via the app and the machine, and it does it right for you. So let's go back, and what we're going to do is we're going to put this back on our knee. And again, what you want to do is you want to situate that silver circle right around the kneecap, and we'll apply it to her knee. What's great about this device too is it comes with extenders and minimizers. So if you have a thicker leg, you can use the extenders, or if you have a thinner leg, you can use the minimizers so it fits properly. Now obviously one of the downsides to this device is it's just for the knee, right? So I am going to play around with using the minimizers and possibly using on an elbow or a forearm and see if we can actually use that in that area as well. Again, be careful not to strap it down too far. You still want it to be really tight, but you don't want it to pinch any of the skin below. So now we have the device situated on our knee. So what we're going to do is we're going to select relaxing heat, and it's going to connect to the device via Bluetooth. There it goes. Now it's counting down the start of the protocol. And again, this one is 15 minutes. You can reduce the time by 5, or you can increase the time if you need to. Typically, though, I recommend most patients use 15 minutes as the amount of time. Okay, so what I'm going to do, temperature control, I'm going to turn it to manual, and then I'm going to turn it all the way to the top. And it's going to heat up over the next few minutes. I think in the cold therapy, it took about 2.5 minutes to get to the coldest point. And we'll see how long it takes for the heat to get to the hottest point. And I believe the temperature that I've recorded before at the highest heat setting is around 125 to 127. We'll take a look using the thermal infrared gun to see how hot it gets. Okay, so it took about 3 minutes to get to the hottest setting. So Renee, what does this feel like in terms of how much heat there is, and how would you describe what it feels like?
There's quite a bit of heat. I feel like it's even more heat than a traditional heating pad. And it's really impressive how quickly it can switch between the two extreme temperatures.
And again, what I would recommend is use the apps as they're set up. Don't switch to the manual controls right off the bat. It has it pre-programmed, so you don't have to mess with the temperature at all. Just follow that. Once you get used to using it, then you can manually control the heat, because this does get very warm, and it may be a little bit too much initially for you. And the pre-programmed protocols will handle that for you, so you don't have to worry about going too hot or too cold. Okay, so let's take it off now while we have it running. We'll take a reading of the temperature and see how warm it gets. All right, so reading-wise initially here, we're at 123. It keeps going up. So yeah, we're up to about 125. So again, that's pretty impressive in the sense that it goes from that extreme 32 degrees up to 125 or a little bit greater than that. And again, it's all seamless too, all controlled via the app. So it's nice, you don't have to worry about messing with any settings on the device. So that's great. So to, again, shut off the protocol, we're gonna hit pause. We're gonna hit end session, finish routine, yes. And again, it's gonna show you how much percentage you've completed the routine. We're gonna hit continue. And then that's it. And so to shut off the device, all you're gonna do, hold down the power button again, and then that's it. And you would wanna close out your app, and that's it. So again, what I love about this, there's so many different protocols in there. You're mainly gonna start off just using cold therapy, heat therapy, or contrast therapy. Those are the three I would play around with the most. And then again, you can look at these other different pre-programmed protocols, but those are the more common ones that I'll be using as well. Now I'd like to talk about some of the pros and cons of this device. The first major benefit of this device is it can switch from cold to heat therapy within 60 seconds. And then the therapy is all contained within the actual knee wrap. So what's nice is there's no mess, there's no cleanup, there's no additional therapy that you need to add into this. This is all just integrated into the one wrap. And it provides a very deep cooling effect to decrease pain and inflammation, or if you use the heat therapy to release muscle tension and soothe aching joints. I also like how easy to use the app is. It's very intuitive, it connects via Bluetooth, there's no problems with that. The app has all the protocols built into it, so there's no need to guess or figure out what temperature or setting you need to put it at. But you can also customize it depending on what you need. Once you get used to using it, or you figure out you need a different setting, you can manually adjust that up or down, or increase the temperature or decrease the temperature. Another big benefit of this device is very mobile. So unlike some of the other devices, they're very big and bulky, and it wouldn't be very practical to travel with it. Whereas this device is very mobile friendly. It's TSA approved, you can put it in your luggage, it doesn't take up too much space, and it can provide you some relief while you're traveling. Another major benefit of this device is a very premium build quality. The neoprene is very comfortable. The technology located on the device seems like it's very sturdy, it's not gonna break off or anything like that. I feel like this is gonna last you a very long time. Now let's talk about some of the downsides to the device. The first major downside is the price. So this retails for $450, but I feel like it's a really worthwhile investment, especially if you suffer from chronic knee pain, or you're the weekend warrior who deals with some knee pain here and there. this is going to be a perfect device for you. And when you compare this price to some of the other devices on the market that say just do the cold therapy, this is actually going to be much less in terms of the overall cost and provide you the same type of therapy. Because it's all integrated into one product, you don't need to buy multiple devices in order to get the same treatment effect. Another downside to this device is it's only made for the knee joint. I'm sure they're going to come out with an ankle, a shoulder, or a lower back wrap, but this device can only be used for the knee joint. So that's fine if you deal with chronic knee pain. You know that going into it, it's going to be just used for your knee. But it is kind of limited in terms of where you can apply this device. But again, depending on what you need, if you just suffer from chronic knee pain, this is going to be the product that you need. Another downside to this device is it's app controlled. So if you don't have your phone on you, you can't just turn the device on without a phone. Most of us have our phones on us, so it's not really a big deal. But if you don't like using your apps on your phone, or you don't like that it can't be turned on individually, that's going to be a downside for you. But I will say the app is very easy to use and it's very intuitive. Another downside to the product is there's no compression built into the machine. So there's some other products on the market that can also add some compression, and sometimes that can help flush out inflammation out of the joint, whereas this product just provides the cold or heat therapy. But again, those products are typically going to be a lot more expensive. So for the price that you pay, it's actually a pretty good deal. Now let's talk about who this device is for. This device is going to be for the person that suffers from chronic knee pain. They may not be to the point where they need a knee replacement. They may be getting injections into the knee to help calm their overall discomfort. But this person probably suffers from some knee arthritis. They suffer from chronic aches and pains. Probably their knee swells up from time to time and flares up. But a lot of times they'll deal with just chronic stiffness and discomfort. Because this can switch from cold to heat, when the knee joint becomes very irritated and inflamed, you'd want to use the ice therapy to reduce down the swelling and decrease any inflammation in the knee. But a lot of times if the joint is just stiff and tight, say with arthritis, the heat therapy would be appropriate to help loosen up any muscle tightness and soothe any achy joints. The other person that would benefit from this device is going to be your weekend warrior. They may suffer from some knee issues that keep them back from playing or doing certain activities. This is going to help to reduce your knee pain and also help you recover faster. So this would be great if you're dealing with some irritation to your knee. You can use the ice therapy, and then the heat would just help you recover that much faster. And again, you apply it either before or after you do your activity, and then that would just help to accelerate the healing process. If you have any questions about this product or you want to demo it in the office, give my office a call at 703-912-7822.